Welcome back. We are back. Season 2, Episode 1. We are live. Thank you for tuning in. I didn't expect to take a long break as I did with Season 1. I expected to keep it rolling, but here we are, calling it Season 2. Had to get some stuff done with summer school. Had tons of classes, had tons of assignments and homework, but nevertheless, here we are with Season 2. So what I'm thinking is that during that time frame between July and June, going into August, I'll take a little break, revamp everything, check into some stuff, and start a new season. So here we are, Season 2, Episode 1. And today we're talking about back to school. If this is your first time tuning in, I am your host, Brian Sales. And this is the podcast, See Through It Podcast. Today's episode is back to school. And with this back to school, I thought it was important to hit on this before South Bend and a lot of other districts. I'm not sure. Before they head back to school, to encourage parents to be involved in the kids' education. I know for a very long time, I was not a fan of South Bend Corporation, school corporation. I was not a fan of the corporation. I've always was blaming them for everything that was going on inside the schools. I was always pointing the finger at them. And then, I believe maybe a year or 2 years ago, I took a step back and I just started watching everything unravel. They had a superintendent that was a former Marine that ended up leaving. And I was like, why would he be leaving? Why would he be quitting? Marines do not quit unless there was an issue, unless he felt like he couldn't do his job, unless he felt like he didn't have the support of the parents or of the community to achieve the overall goal, which is make these kids successful. So when they leave the school, they can go and find a job or get into further their degree or further their education. I had to stand there and look at that. There was a reason. And then there were multiple things constantly happening. I'm going to tell you a story. I had a niece. I'm not going to say any names. I have a niece that was at a school and that got into a fight. And there was a teacher involved. I'm pretty sure a lot of people remember this story, but there was a teacher involved, and the teacher was trying to break up the fight. And it was mayhem. I saw that video and I was disgusted. Like, why? Why was this going on? Why was this happening? Who knows what the kids were fighting about? Still don't know what it was about. Or what is it even worthy of mentioning what the fight was about? But nevertheless, the fight took place. They disrupted the class. The teacher, I believe, lost his job. And that was the norm for each school in the corporation. But not for each. I'm not gonna say each school, but for most of the schools in the corporation, high school down to middle school. That has to stop. Like, we have to stop that. We have to hold our kids more accountable. These teachers can only do so much. They're not there to babysit. They're there to be teaching. They can't teach if they don't have the support of the parents at home who are sending these kids to the school. So we can't blame the corporation anymore. We have to look at ourselves, take inventory of ourselves, and look at what's important. Are we sending these kids there to be watched while we go to work? Why are we sending these kids there? Are we holding our own kids accountable for what they are doing in class? Are we holding our kids accountable for what they're not doing in class? We got to start holding them accountable so the teachers can feel like they have some support where they can teach the class and teach these kids something. There's a thing that they have where they just passing these kids straight through school without even thinking about holding them back. They don't even want to hold them back. Why? Probably because they don't want to deal with your bad son anymore. Probably because they don't want to deal with your bad daughter anymore. Your mouthy daughter, your mouthy son, the disrespect. These teachers are not getting paid tons of money to sit there and deal with your disobedient child. So they came up, this is me assuming, they came up with this thing to get these kids through the school systems. Like, well, the parents don't want to deal with them. I'm not going to deal with them for $35,000 a year. I wouldn't want to. That doesn't make any sense. I'm here to be teaching. I'm here to teach the kids, and I can't teach them because little guy over there wants to throw paper around with his buddies. But when I call him out on it, he tells his mom comes up to the school and goes off on me like it's my fault that he's throwing paper across the room. No one's holding no one accountable. No one's the parent has to hold the child accountable. Now, if the teacher is a bad teacher and they're doing something wrong, get your child out of that class. Put them in another classroom. But don't empower or enable that type of behavior. Because once kids see that, like, oh, my mom, my dad got my back. Even though I'm acting a clown in school, they got my back. They gonna come down here and act a clown with me. Go ahead, call my mama, It shouldn't be like that. I remember when I was in school, if a teacher said they was calling my parents, my stomach disappeared. Like, that was the worst thing ever. I didn't want that phone call to happen. I was hoping that power would just look. There was no power in the school. I was hoping something would happen, that the phones didn't ring. They wasn't able to answer the phone. Something. That's not the case. These kids, they fear nothing. We don't hold them accountable for anything. We got to start holding them accountable. It takes a village to raise these kids. It takes a village. The school system is inside that village. They're prepping our kids mentally to further their education, to get a better job. They're part of that village. They need our support, the parents' support, to know that that we have their back. They're counting on that support. If they feel like they don't have that support, they're not going to put any effort or any energy into teaching our kids. They're going to come up with their teaching lessons, and they're going to teach the kids that want to be taught. And while your son or your daughter is back there blowing gum, playing around, doing whatever, getting suspended, they're not going to care. They're not going to care at all. Because they're going to collect their $35,000, $40,000, whatever it is, a year, and then they're going to go home. If you're not going to take the energy to tell your kids that school is important at the young age of, let's say, what, 7 or so, maybe even younger than that. If we're not going to tell these kids that school is important and you need to be doing your best, as time go on, they're not going to figure that out. They're not going to see that until it's too late. Well, I mean, it's never too late, but they're going to be so far behind. Now is the time to sit the kids down and explain to them. Education is important. We got to explain to them that we're going to be backing the teacher. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you will be held accountable for it. We put so much energy into showing them off when they dressed up, or when they learning the new dance and all that. We be like, yeah, new dance, get it. But when they come home with us, we be like, oh, okay. Oh, we don't even know. We're not even asking what did you learn in school today? We sit at the dinner table, no conversation about what you did in school today. How's your homework going? How did that project turn out to be? If we're not holding our kids accountable, the teachers, the principals, they're not going to hold them accountable. They don't have the time to. These classrooms are overfilled. 25 plus students in them. 25 different little personalities. They don't have the time for that. So it's on us as parents to make sure that we're supporting the teachers, that we're also supporting our kids, showing them that school is important. You need to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. Reading. Take your time. Read. Comprehend what you're reading. Ask them questions. We need to be doing all of that. We need to be showing up to PTA meetings. If you're not able to show up to PTA meetings, ask the teacher, send the teacher an email. I know a lot of times we didn't make PTA meetings. Well, I know I didn't. But I would have my wife send her an email if I felt like, if I'm sitting at the dinner table, I'm asking a question like, what do you learn today? And the response wasn't, one moment. And if the response wasn't what I felt like the response should have been, I was sending the teacher an email saying, well, my son is saying that he's not learning anything. It's the same thing every day. And then she would reply back saying, we're going over this and this and this and that. Then I'll ask him. He doesn't know. You know why he doesn't? He's not paying attention. I needed to know that he's not paying attention in class. If your child is telling you constantly every day that they're not learning anything, if they say, I don't know, that's a red flag. You should be like, what? I'm sending you to school every day for 8 hours and you don't know what you're learning? You should be emailing the teacher. You should be calling the school, finding out what's going on. You shouldn't just be letting that flow like a river under a bridge. That should not just be flowing. Like, okay, just another day. That shouldn't be going like that. We need to be more involved. We need to be holding these kids accountable. They're in school for 7 or 8 hours. 7 or 8 hours. Should know more than I don't know. Should know more than I don't know. If a kid's grades are dropping, we need to know why. We need to be calling the teacher. We need to be calling the teacher. No more can we blame the corporation. No more can we blame the corporation for our kids not learning. When we send our kids to school every day and they come home and they say they have no homework, we should be checking their backpacks. I know a lot of people are like, man, that's too much. Well, I gotta check their backpack. What about their privacy? No. Why? Their privacy. They're not 18, are they? And even then, they live in your house, your rules. Stop it, people. Stop it. You need to be knowing what your child is doing every day in school. Every day. Every day. We cannot blame the corporation. And it might be true that the corporation is horrible. The education is bad. But what about the other kids that are sitting down, going to school every day, getting A's, AB honor roll? They're getting the same education your son or your daughter's getting, right? And they're doing their best. They're putting their best foot forward every day, despite what the ranking is for that school is, or what the ranking is for the corporation. And then once they get done, they end up going into high school, and then they go into college. We can always point the finger at everyone else. Well, this school sucks. These teachers are horrible. The principal ain't nothing. The bus driver's always late. Well, if that's the case, get up. Get up early enough. Get yourself together. Get your kids together. Take them to school. Find a different, move into another school district. Our kids' education should be very important. I work too much. I work 12, 16-hour days. But I ain't got it in me. Okay. So that job, I get that. You got to pay the bills. That makes sense. Your family got to eat. You got to keep the lights on. I get that. But when does it stop? The life that you live in right now, is that the life you want for your kids? Each generation should want each generation to get better. My mom and dad used to tell us that. They wanted us to do better than what they're doing. We shouldn't be behind them. We shouldn't be struggling the way they struggled. We should be ahead of what they were. Each generation should be getting better. Just like with time. The 70s were better than the 60s. 80s were better than the 70s. And I'm talking about like with, in general things. I'm not talking about an opinion like the 68 was better than 70, 71. I'm talking about with things in those times. Things get better. So as humans, we're supposed to progress more. We're supposed to get further and further better each time. So because you're working 16 hours, you're not making sure that your kids are doing what they're supposed to do. How are they supposed to get better than where you're at right now? You want the same life for them? We should want more. We should want more for our kids. We should want more for them. And that starts with the education. Instilling in them that they got to go to school and do the right thing. Yeah, it's cool to be cool or have friends and all that. But you ain't going to see most of those people after you get done with school. I mean, I see a lot of them on Facebook, but I don't see them in person. Your education is important. You should want your kids to do better than what you're doing. Education matters. Education matters. We gotta hold ourselves accountable. If we're not checking up on our kids and making sure the teacher's straight, like that first day when they have open house, we should be there. If we're not there, then we should show up just at some random time and talk to the teacher and let the teacher know. If you need anything, don't hesitate to call my phone. That's the type of relationship the teacher and parents should have. The teacher should feel comfortable knowing that, okay, if you get out of hand, I'm calling your mom or I'm calling your dad. I remember when we was growing up, every time we went to someone's house or there was a family gathering, you could not get through the door. Oh, let me tell you. You couldn't sit down without someone mentioning school. How your grades doing? What you get on your report card? How your grades doing? How you doing in school? That was always. That was the first thing that came out of your uncles, your aunties' mouth. That was the first thing that came out of your mouth. Out of their mouths. That was the first thing. Before anything, nothing else mattered. How your grades doing? What you doing in school? You look up at your parents. They look back down at you. Don't look at me. Hey, ask you, what you doing in school? Feeling embarrassed. I was in trouble and stuff. Now I don't know. I don't know if that's the same. I don't know if that's the same case. I know in my family, we have a get together. We asking the kids, what you doing in school? How you doing in school? That's a regular conversation. How you doing in school? We're not asking you about nothing else, because all that other stuff don't really matter. Your education matters. We should be telling our kids the same thing. Education matters. Do not send your kids to school and not giving them the tools that they need to have to be successful in school. Do not send your kids to school without the tools that they need so they can be successful in school. Education is important. It takes a village to raise these kids. The teachers need our support. The principal, the school board, the superintendent, they need to know that they have the backing of the community. If they don't have the backing of the community, the corporation will continue to fall down. Example, Ben Harbor. Ben Harbor. The state, the federal government is ready to shut them down. Will it? They was ready. They was about ready to shut them down. They gave them one more year. So we're gonna see how these kids and how the parents parent these kids through this school year. No corporation should be threatened like that. A community should be instilling in these kids that education is important. The teacher should feel the support from the community. That should always be the case. And if the teachers don't feel the support, no one's going to learn anything. We're just sending these kids to school just to be babysat by teachers. It's a huge daycare. We don't need that. There's tons of daycares for that. We don't need daycares. It's a school. So no more excuses. Excuses are, I've already crossed out all the excuses. We can't use the excuses no more. No more excuses. I think we named them all. The education sucks. We can't say that. Especially if Timmy is sitting in the front row or sitting wherever he's sitting and he's getting all A's. The stigma is all the Chinese and Indians, they come here and get all the education that they can. Why? Because they know how important education is. Our kids should be the same way. Education should be that important. If other people are leaving their countries to come here to get better education, our kids need to be doing the same thing. Same thing. Same thing. So, make sure you hold yourself accountable. If you work late, I understand. But you still got to make time to make sure that your kid is doing what he's supposed to do. He or she is supposed to do in school. Let them know they don't want that life that you're working. Let them know they don't need to be working 20 hours, 16-hour days or whatever to try to put food on the table and keep the lights on. Show them that. If that's your life right now, show them that. Sit them down and have that conversation with them. Tell them it's not glamorous. Tell them this is not the life they want. Tell them they should do better. They should want to do better. They should want to have more. Empower your kids to feel like that they need to go to school and do their best. Not just skip on through because the corporation is going to pass them on. No, that they need to go to the school and do their best. Not try, just do their best. So if you're one of those parents that's working crazy hours, use that to your advantage. If you care about your kid, use that to your advantage and explain that to your son or your daughter. This is not the lifestyle you want. You don't want to be working 16 hours here and then got to come home for an hour or two, take a nap, and then go to another job. You don't want that lifestyle. Explain that to them. Use that. So in conclusion, what I've talked about today was empowering the officials of the corporation, empowering the teachers, empowering the principal, the superintendent, supporting everyone that has a hand in helping your child get through the school year. Education is important. I've said that like over and over again. Education is important. And we need to wake up and realize that education is important and we got to do better. We can't blame the corporation no more. No more blaming the corporation. Hold our kids accountable, hold ourselves accountable. Once we do that, once we hold ourselves accountable and we hit all the checkbox and we hold our kids accountable for what they're doing and we hit all the checkbox, then can we go to the corporation and be like, why is such and such, or this and this, or whatever. Why is this happening? But we can't do that until we hold ourselves and our children accountable for what they're doing. We can't do it no more. So, hit the check box on yourself, hit the check box on your kids. And once we do that, once we all do that, if there's a huge majority of people holding their kids and themselves accountable, then we can finally get the corporation to where we want the corporation to be. But until then, nothing's going to change. We have to change first. We can't expect the machine to change until we change. Because we're doing everything we're supposed to do. We're holding our kids accountable. We're sending kids to school to learn. They're not fighting. They're not wasting teachers' time. They're not mouthing back. Then, of course, you're gonna get some of those. But if we have the majority of the community backing teachers, and teachers feel like they have the support of the parents of these students, then things will go in the right direction. Things will go in the right direction, and things should change. Things should definitely change if we're holding ourselves accountable and our kids. So that wraps up this first episode. It was a short episode. That wraps up the first episode. Like I said, it was about school. I thought it was going to be a long, drawn out one, but it was pretty straightforward. It's nothing too complex. It's just how I feel about us getting our kids to school and making sure they're doing the right thing. Making sure they're doing the right thing. Making sure we're doing the right thing so that the teachers can do their jobs correctly. So, August 19th, just a little quick update real quick. August 19th, I still do the sports. I know I missed a lot in the sports world, but August 19th, I have a full week of episodes coming to you. We're doing college football. We got college football. We got a week before college football on when I do this August 19th all the way to Friday. I'm gonna have a guest speaker or a guest co-host with me for every day. We're gonna be covering the Pac-12, Big Ten, ACC, SEC. We're gonna be talking about it all. So you're absolutely right. It starts at home. We gotta hold ourselves accountable. But August 19th, so make sure you tune in. August 19th, I'm gonna have Bama Bo from Alabama. She got her own podcast going, and it's just booming. She's been sponsored a couple times already. She got another she's blowing up. So make sure you tune in August 19th for that. College football is around the corner. With college football, you know it's about to get cold. College football is around the corner. It's about to get cold, folks. And make sure, please, share, like, comment. Let me know if there's any title or any subjects that I should hit on. We got a lot of stuff happening in the media, a lot of things that have been thrown out there, a lot of smoke screens, a lot of flashbangs to disorient you and to blind you. But again, this is the See Through It podcast. So we're gonna help you see through it all. I got some guest speakers that's gonna come in, and we got a lot of shows planned for this season 2. So please like, share, and comment. Don't get blinded by the smoke, by the flash. Continue to see through it. I am your host, Brian Sells, and I'll talk to you guys again soon, later. Peace.